next topic up, we got the MLB predictions, and we have our first guest of the day. We have Loud Marlins Fan. How you doing?
Hanging in, guys. Thanks for having me. Doing well. Excited to be
Welcome to
here.
the show. Awesome background, by the way. Yeah, awesome.
Going to be more
Yes,
fans coming up tomorrow or whenever this
Right.
is going to be aired on Thursday the 30th. Happy about
yes. So, Evan, do you want to go down the list of divisions?
Yeah. So we got let's start with the American League. We'll start with the AL East. This is both East divisions are supposed to be powerhouses. I think this division, a lot of people are projecting the Yankees. I'll go to you first, though. A lot of Marlins fan. How do you see the AL East stacking up?
it. The Yankees are the team to beat in the AL East. Um, Really, their only competition, I think, is the Blue Jays. Uh, I don't see any moves from the Orioles or Red Sox really threatening. And Tampa will always be in there, but the New York Yankees and their payroll, spending money wins.
Yeah. I think baseball has become a top heavy division or top heavy like in the top of each league there's a couple hundred win teams and then there's a couple hundred losses teams. Usually that'd be rare. Like you'd get 100 win maybe here and there, maybe 100 loss team that's rebuilding. But now it's like multiple every single year. So I think the AL East will definitely have 100 win team. Will it be the Yankees? That's my interesting take here is I think you could definitely argue it's the Yankees. I think this is the year we see the Blue Jays finally explode. They've been building their team for a while. Bo Bichette, Vlad, of course, all of them. I think their lineup explodes. I don't know if they quite get to 100 wins, but I'm going to project in an upset right away that the Blue Jays finish first. I got the Yankees finishing second. Very close. It's going to be a tight race. I got Baltimore. I disagree a little with my friend Loud Marlins. Yes, they won't threaten to take the division. I don't think that will happen, but they're going to be a good team. They took a great step last year, and their prospects will continue to develop. Orioles third. I'm going to put the Rays fourth and Red Sox fifth. Jake, where do you see this one?
Yeah, obviously I got the favorite, the Yankees, taking this division again. I think Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton, they're going to combine for about 100 homers. I think both of them have ridiculous power. Um, so I'm just taking the Yankees to win this division. I do think the Blue Jays coming second, as you mentioned, Vlad Guerrero and Bo Bichette. I think they do come in second, with the pitching prospects coming up and their batting prospects coming up as well. I got the Orioles sliding in third, and then fourth and fifth are the Rays and the Red Sox.
At this point, I think if Aaron Judge even hits 50 next year, that's a victory. To
Oh
be
yeah,
honest, but after
Aaron
the
Judge will
season, he
have
just said,
50.
and also you got to remember with the Yankees, they just signed, they got better pitching wise too with Carlos Rodon and all them, so you got to watch for that too. But
Yes.
we'll move on to the next division. That's our predictions for that. Let's go to the AL Central. Definitely a weaker division than the AL East, but some middling teams like the Twins, Guardians, and White Sox, you could argue win that division. Loud Marlins, how do you see the AL Central stacking up?
Got to continue with the champs and the Guardians. I think next up would be the White Sox. Is Tim Anderson the best shortstop in the Central? Possibly. You got to look there. They signed a few players over the offseason. You got Benintendi signing with them and whatnot in center field. So I think the White Sox have a chance to go past the Guardians. But Jose Ramirez is the backbone of the team. They have a good starting rotation. They showed it in the playoffs last year. Guardians brought in Josh Bell. Besides that, I mean, you got to look at the Tigers. Tigers have Miguel Cabrera. That's really about it. Javi Baez, can he ever come back to his 2020 prime season? Then the Royals, well, they're waiting for the career to end on Zach Greinke, so we'll see what happens. But overall, as I said, Guardians are the team to beat. Low payroll, young, fiery team. See how they do.
Yeah, Zach Greinke's really held on for a while. I've been saying for years he's going to phase out, and like he's still going. So credit where it's due. He's probably going to phase out this year, but credit where it's due. I think this one's interesting because it's not top heavy like the AL East is. I agree that the Guardians are now the favorite. They were projected like fourth last year. I predict this gets a little more mixed up. I predict once again the favorite's not going to win this. I think Minnesota's going to win this. Minnesota is weird. They always stick around in it. They got lucky re-signing Carlos Correa. Their pitching's always been so-so, but they hang around. They're not ever bad. Sometimes they'll be like 500. Sometimes they'll win the division. This year, I'm predicting they'll win the division. And then, what's up?
You got to think Pablo Lopez is now their ace, right? So maybe
Yes,
he
yes,
can
yeah.
take them over the
Yes.
hump.
Because for the longest time, they kind of relied on Barrios while he was there. Obviously, Barrios is long gone, and now, yes, they need the new guy, and I think they could center around Pablo. I'm going to predict the Sox second. I think I'm a White Sox fan. Let's just front this right away. We have a rule at PWTB, we can't pick games, but it's just a division, so I'm going to predict. I have them at second because there's no way the lineup can be as bad as it was last year. The lineup underperformed so bad last year. Everyone got hurt. Will it be great? I hope so. I don't know that for a fact, but there's no way it can underperform. And we still finished 500. So I'm going to predict us at 7. Maybe an upset. I have the Guardians all the way down at 3rd. Not a distant 3rd. They will compete. I think it's up to the top 3 in the division, but I think they'll underperform a little bit. They did sell out. Yes, they got some pieces. Jose Ramirez is awesome, but they did sell off a lot of people, and I think that will hit them in the face eventually. And then I got the Royals 4th, and the Tigers are a hot, steaming mess, so I got them at 5th. But respect to Miggy. Respect like Loud Marlins said. Jake, how do you see the essentials shaking up?
Yeah. Who did you have first place in the division
I had the Twins.
again? Ah, okay. Yeah, I think the Twins, obviously with, Byron Buxton and just acquiring Paulo Lopez, I think Paulo is the ace. I think they're going to win this division. My division looks basically um as close as yours. I have the Twins, White Sox, Guardians. I have the Royals. A signing career of Bobby Witt Jr. Um, a signing career. Of course, as Loud Marlins fan mentioned, we're waiting for the career of Zach Greinke, and they are waiting for that career. And then I have the Tigers 5th, and because the Tigers are just a hot mess, like you mentioned.
Disaster. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
AL West. This one is obviously the Astros have just dominated
Yes.
recently. I think they've won the last 6. Correct me if I'm wrong. But how do you see this one shaking out, Loud Marlins fan, in 2023?
I think Mariners are going to take the West. I think loss of Verlander really hurts the Astros as far as their rotation is concerned. The Mariners, when they got hot last season, they got hot, and they almost could have won that wild card series. They just had to play a little bit better.
The 18-inning game, you remember that one? Yeah.
Yeah.
They brought in better hitting. They went after Hernandez from the Blue Jays. And really, Luis Castillo signed that contract in the offseason, the extension. They're built to win. They're a young team. I always go for the underdog, and I think Houston falls off a little bit. So I see Mariners, Astros, Rangers, Angels, and then A's, who can really discuss as a really major league team.
Yeah, they got to find a home eventually too. They're going to have to leave Oakland. I think with the West, I agree that it's obviously the Mariners and Astros. I'm going to once again disagree. I think the Astros will pull it out, but it's slight, very slight. The Mariners, like you said, signing Teoscar Hernandez, this is going to be a battle of the lineups. And I also definitely agree that Justin Verlander, losing him does hurt. But the Astros, managed by Dusty Baker, they just have all the experience in the world. 6 straight division titles. They've been in the AL championship like over and over too. I think they'll keep that going. The Mariners have a great roster, but they got to show me that, yes, they did play good in the DS, but it was a sweep. We got to be honest about that. So they got to show me that they could stick. But I do have them as a solid second. I have the Rangers at 3rd, like you did, because they spent so much money the last 2 off seasons. It's got to pan out eventually for something at least. So maybe they could compete for a wild card. We'll see.
Going after Jacob deGrom.
Yeah, right. DeGrom and then Seager the offseason before. And it's just been, and then the Angels just pathetic at 4, wasting away the career of Mike Trout. And then the A's, I feel bad for, like I said, they got to move out of Oakland, start their new reputation, but I got them at 5th. Jake, how do you see the West shaking up?
Oh my God, you guys did not mention one of the rising stars in baseball, Julio Rodriguez. The Mariners come in first. Julio Rodriguez, Teoscar Hernandez. That roster is Yeah, that roster is finishing first. Um, I got the Rangers second. Actually, with Jacob DeGrom, I think they got a lot better acquiring DeGrom. You know, as you mentioned last offseason, acquiring Siegel. They're ready to make a run. And third, I actually got the Houston Astros. You know, Houston Astros have always been good, but I think they kind
Third.
of like fall
Wow.
off this year.
We'll see. Yeah.
Um, Angels at fourth, and then just yeah, the A's at fifth. Pathetic franchise. Yeah,
But
as Loud Marlins fans say.
definitely. All right, so moving on to the NL East, I'm interested to hear what two Marlins fans here. Obviously, another very top-heavy division. How do you see this one shaking out, Loud Marlins fan? I'll go to you.
Marlins will not in the NL East. All right, we're lucky if we could compete for third in the NL East. It's just you're going against these payrolls that are astronomical. Like, come on, man. You have over a $300 million payroll up in New York, close to it in Philly. The Braves are a different built team. They built from within, and they offer these contracts to their young studs who can't even make their team at the end of the game. So, you know, it's the Braves. To answer your question, I'll come in here. The Braves are the team to beat. Money
Yes.
does not buy the NL championship or NL East championship in our division. The Braves have won it year over year from building within. The Mets, they both finished with what, 101 wins last year, and of course, Braves won the tiebreaker. The Mets will finish second. Braves are first, Mets are second, Phillies will finish third. They're just not going to stay healthy this year. You have Harper coming in late, injured when he comes back out. They just lost their first baseman, Hopkins, um, Roy Hopkins, Rice. Anyway, whatever. He's out
Yes.
for the year. Name doesn't matter. Um, they brought him some pitching relief and whatnot. Then you got the Nationals finishing fifth. The Miami Marlins, we all want to win down here. If we could get over 77 wins, we should be happy with that. You don't go from 67, 69 wins to 100. You don't, and especially with spending an $80 million payroll competing. So my long-winded answer, you've got Braves, Mets, Phillies, Marlins, Nationals.
I'm pretty close with that. We did it. We actually did a video here on PWTB about a month ago how the Mets are going to buy the World Series. We were talking about that.
We did.
I don't know. You say the Braves. I agree with you 100%. The Braves are the team to beat. They've won the NL East over and over. They've shown that they're the top dogs. Yes, the Phillies are the one who went to the World Series last year, but they're top dogs. I think they will be beaten this year, though. I think the Mets have just spent a crazy amount. I don't necessarily think they're going to win the World Series, but I do think they have enough firepower to win this very tightly competitive division this year. I got the Braves slotting in at second, like you said. They've gotten some injuries, like Ronald Acuna is obviously coming back now. He's good. Was it Soroka? Is he good now? What's the status with him? Does anyone know? Or
I believe Soroka is still not back.
okay, so he's still not back. Obviously, Braves have other pieces.
You got Ian Anderson though,
Yeah,
and he's
I
pretty
got
good.
them slotting in second. Loud Marlins fan made a very good point about the Phillies. Is the fact that Hoskins was like the playoff star last year. He was
Yeah.
he was like the MVP of the playoffs last year. Without him, they slotted in at third. They kind of had a little bit of a magical run last year. They're still going to be good, but I got them at third. Marlins with that young pitching, they'll continue to develop. Fourth, Nationals, another dumpster fire. At fifth, we'll put it at that. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously I remember that video we did a few months ago with the Mets buying a World Series. Now, I'll agree with everyone on this. I don't think they're going to buy a World Series, but I think obviously with the pitching they got, Justin Verlander, losing Jacob deGrom, um, but I just think the Mets have a powerful offense. They fly in first with P. Alonso. I think second is obviously the Braves, Ronald Acuna, and they got a great pitching staff. Ian Anderson, Spencer Strider. That pitching staff is just crazy. So I got them coming in at second. I actually, to a bit of a surprise, I got the Marlins finishing better than the Phillies and Nationals
Oh,
at third. Um, the Marlins, I think they're ready to compete, and you can see that. They're ready, I think. And, with this young pitching, with the additions of Jing Segura, Luis Ariz, maybe, I think Yori Gurriel is starting at the major league level this year. Um, with those additions, I think they slide in nicely at third. Phillies at fourth, and then of course the Nationals last.
It's possible. Let's see what happens. I think it's possible. So let's go to the Central, NL Central, which I think both Centrals compared to the East are the powerhouse. The Centrals are definitely the weaker. The Cardinals won this pretty handily last year. They pulled away from the Brewers. But how do you see this one shaping out in 2023, Loud Marlins fan?
You guys see any of the spring training games where the Cardinals just whoop on the Marlins every time? There was a guy
Yeah,
named Walker, and that young man, who I believe is in mid 20, he's 20 years old, is going to be coming up, and he's a stud. And they're only
yeah,
adding him to a roster that's already all-star driven. And World Baseball Classic, as my husky agrees with me in the background, I apologize. But I'm thinking that the Cardinals will win. They have pitching to hold them in as long as Wainwright comes back a little bit healthy within the next first 2 months of the season. You'll have the pitching that holds them up. You have Paul Goldschmidt, your reigning MVP. You have just going off the cusp here with their roster. You have him. You have Arnold.
Arenado.
Arenado there. Sorry, Arenado.
Okay.
They added Wilson Contreras to replace their catcher who is retired. So you add all those bats together. They're the team. They're winning the division. The Brewers were on a downhill, so they're going to go second again like last year. Cubs have added a few decent pieces. We'll see how Bellinger fits in there. Dansby Swanson. They're trying to make a small little run at this, but they're going to finish third. I'm not even going to discuss the Pirates and the Red. There's really nothing there other than that trade that's going to happen with Brian Reynolds. So that's your division. It's going to be Cards, Brewers, Cubs, not available.
Not available. I like that. All right. So I agree. I've been picking a lot of upsets so far. I think this one will be the expected. I think the Cardinals will win this. The Cardinals last year in the wild card obviously were upset by the Phillies, trying to give Yadier that send off, and it just didn't happen. So I think that the Cardinals will win this. They spent a lot of money with Arenado, Goldschmidt. They're the first ones to kind of dump that big money, and then the Phillies kind of followed suit, and so did some of the other teams. The Cardinals, it's going to finally pay off. They're serious to move now. I got the Brewers second. They still have really good pitching. Obviously that can be hit or miss, but they, no Josh Hader anymore, but still you got to look out for their starting staff, and they're still very solid. The Cubs moves have reeked of desperation to me. Like, it's kind of like, all right, let's put this together. Let's try to win a wild card game. Like, it doesn't seem like a super winning formula. So I actually, in an upset, have the Reds at third. We had Jules on about a month ago hyping up the Reds. She's got me on the train to finish third, which in the NL Central means nothing. That doesn't mean they're going to be good. But I got the Reds third. I'm going to have the Cubs fourth, and I'm going to have the Pirates fifth. Terrible team, but their stadium's really cool. So, Jake, who do you got in the NL Central?
Yeah, definitely. PNC Park is really cool. I've been there, so it's really cool. Obviously the Cardinals favorite to win this division, as Loud Marlins Fan mentioned, Jordan Walker. Hopefully he starts with the big league club this year. I would really like to see that. So obviously I got the Cardinals first. Milwaukee second, because obviously still Corbin Burns, still one of the top pitchers in the NL. So I got them finishing second. And Jules got me on the hype train as well. So I got the Reds finishing third, and then the Cubs coming in fourth, and then the Pirates fifth.
All right. So the last division, not as great as the East, in my opinion, but still pretty top heavy. You got the Padres and the Dodgers in a dogfight at the top. How do you see this division playing out, Loud Marlins Fan?
This is the year that the Padres overcome their big brother in the Dodgers. You can say they did it in the playoffs last year, but this is the year that they take the division. They're just too damn good. They're stacked. Soto, Machado, Tatis when he comes back. They added Bogarts. They added Carpenter, Nelson Cruz. There's no weakness in that lineup. And the pitching in the West is not this year to keep up with that lineup. You have Dodgers finishing second, and I'm not going to say close second. Dodgers are going to run away this year with that division. They're just that good. The Dodgers, they're taking a step backwards. They've lost their two Turners. You give up Trey. We didn't even discuss him when discussing the East, right? Trey Turner is now on the Phillies.
Right.
You have Justin Turner. I believe he went to Boston. Bellinger hasn't had the last 2 years, but he's gone. They lost Kimbrel. They lost Tyler Anderson. Kershaw resigned. I believe they got J.D. Martinez also who signed with them. And then they had to rely on guys like Jason Hayward. Miguel Rojas, who can't hit for crap, is their starting shortstop. Great at defense. Can't hit for crap. He's not going to replace Trey Turner. Sorry, love you. And Gavin Luck's injury hurts them. Third, you have the Giants. You talk desperation with the Cubs. Everything the Giants did was out of desperation. Yes. They tried to get a big name free agent, and it would have been great to have Judge replacing Barry Bonds as the best hitter in the National League, right? But that didn't happen. They missed out on Swanson, Bogarts. They missed out on Turner. And then they had to rely on signing B-plus free agents, B free agents like Jock Peterson, Michael Conforto. We'll see if Sean Manaea, he's a wild card here, if he could come back to the form that he was in the past. Diamondbacks will finish fourth. I just have them as a young team that are going in the right direction, but don't have the best pitching, right? We'll see if Zach Gallen can stay healthy and if Madison Bumgarner can have an above-average year. But besides that, I just don't see great pitching there. And the Rockies, they may have Chris Bryant. They may have signed Profar and Moustakas, but other than that, they're staying status quo. When Jose Urena is one of your best pitchers on your team, you are finishing last place in your division.
Yes. I think, no, I definitely agree with the Giants' criticism. I think go back way at the top. This is going to be a dogfight. I actually will go on a limb and say both the Dodgers and Padres win 100 wins. So this is not taking anything away from the Padres. But it's funny because the Padre means dad, but really the Dodgers are the dad in this relationship, and they will show that this year. I think it will be very close. The Dodgers got to be mad because I think the Padres did put their foot on their necks in those playoffs last year. And I think the Dodgers will win this narrowly. It will be a dogfight in the playoffs. I hope we get another series with them in the playoffs because that would be really cool to see if the Padres can do it again. I got the Dodgers first. Padres second. You talk about the Diamondbacks. They got some young talent. Obviously, Madison Bumgarner's getting up there. I think they're something. What's the number 2 prospect in baseball's name? The outfielder, Jake. Remind me.
Corbin Carroll.
Corbin Carroll, yeah. You got him coming up. Watch out for the Diamondbacks. Not for the division, of course. They're not going to finish anywhere near the division. But for a wild card, maybe watch out. I agree the Giants are desperate. They wanted Judge. They didn't get Judge. They didn't have a plan B after they didn't get Judge. So now they're kind of swamped. They won 100 games 2 years ago. Last year they underperformed. They're like, oh, well, we'll just get Aaron Judge. We'll be fine. No Aaron Judge. Time to figure something out. I got them at 4th, and then I got the Rockies at 5th. It sucks because the Rockies, I think baseball is more fun when the Rockies are good in that ballpark hitting home runs, but they're just not a good team. So I got them finishing 5th.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, I got the Dodgers and Padres running away with this division. They'll out of sight. Diamondbacks finish in 3rd because, as you mentioned, watch out for those big prospects. Zach Gallen, I know he's not a prospect anymore, but great pitching out of him. Corbin Carroll. So, watch out for the Diamondbacks. And then I got the Rockies. I got them last, and I got the Giants 4th. So we'll see how that division plays out.